Hey, welcome to your Libra horoscopes for the week. These are the horoscopes for the week of the 24th through the 30th, the last week of September, and the first full week of Libra, really. So yeah, Libra season is upon us, and I'm sure you all are partying hardy for those birthdays, especially those of you that love fall, because it technically is, whether it looks like it or not, it technically is now, which is really exciting. We still have Mars in Libra, which continues his sextile with Venus also throughout the week. Yes, throughout the week. It's kind of started checking to make sure I'm not lying to you. This again provides this balance that you Libras need so very much. And the word balance is associated with Libra a lot, but the mystery is always, what is balance? Like, what creates balance in some way? And so it becomes this mysterious thing that you're looking for constantly, but don't really know what it is that you're looking for, if that makes sense. And to me, balance means so many different things, but Mars and Venus working together represent a balance of logic and emotion, which is really, really important in terms of decision making. Now, Libras are not known decision makers, but to have these two planets working together towards your long-term goals, your career goals, and your the support that you currently have right now, it's really important to utilize both sides. Of course, you want to do what feels right, which is kind of where Libras do tend to lead, but you also need to do what makes the most sense in the moment. So balance can be tricky, but it also can be extremely easy. When you take yourself out of the situation, you disconnect a little bit from the feelings. And so you're not quite so swept up in the feelings and get a little bit of a clearer picture. In many cases, this happens around situations that are just not good for you. You've been in the situation for a while. It's proven that it's not good for you, but emotionally, you're still holding on to that for some reason. So to actually be able to step out of it and see a clearer picture is very necessary towards making the right decision. We also have the moon is not in Libra this week, but the way that it's moving around this week, it really is lining up with Mars a couple of different times, good and bad ways. As we'll start with the good on Monday, when Mars moves into a trine with the moon, bringing this element of the past and your mind and how your mind works. And of course, with it being the moon, we're talking about emotional mental process, which can be a little bit tricky for most people. But then again, actually, the way these two planets are lining up, it's saying the more energy you put into what you're doing, the less time you're sitting there thinking about it. And that's a lot of the mistakes that were made in the past, was too much thinking. Now this is about, we're not going to think about it, we're just going to move forward and see where we land, kind of a thing. A lot of people do try to take the the easy way, sometimes the road less traveled, so to speak. But in some cases also, a lot of people do have a tendency to take the road that's more comfortable. And taking risks really is important in life. Yeah, sometimes they don't pan out, but sometimes they do. So, calculated risks are not necessarily a bad thing. It takes you out of your comfort zone and helps you level up a little bit, which we all need. That trine continues into Tuesday as the moon actually moves closer and closer into conjunction with Saturn, although Mars and Saturn aren't really lining up. So that element of watch your thoughts is definitely continuing to work in this particular situation. As we move out of Tuesday, though, we have a couple of things. First of all, Mars moves into a square with Pluto. Pluto, like, literally moved a little inch, and Mars moved a little bit, and boom, we are in a square now, these two planets together, which is going to last for the next couple of weeks or so. It's not a major challenge, but it is going to be a major challenge off and on, depending on the movement around it. For now, it is a mini challenge. And we're specifically looking at the past. Pluto's influence is very much on the past, whether it's repeating past mistakes or avoiding repeating past mistakes, or situations that come up that really mimic the past. And it creates a little bit of chaos when your frustration becomes anger, specifically in terms of where Mars placement is, because it's right on the cusp of your support system and your career. So we're talking specifically about your career goals. We're talking about not repeating past mistakes in terms of how you're moving towards those career goals. And there could be an element of frustration there, big time, because Mars energy, if you are trying to push through something that just will not break, it's going to frustrate the hell out of you. And this is what this square is all about. It's basically coming in and saying, hey, you know, you obviously can't bust through this because there is no way to bust through it. It is indestructible, if that makes sense. We're going to end the week with the moon moving into opposition with Mars, which creates a T-square as both planets are squared with Pluto. And this becomes a much bigger challenge than it was when it started. Luckily for just a day, though, because the moon is very much influencing this. And the moon's placement is sitting in those you love. We're talking about security, finding security in those people to a certain extent. But I also feel that a lot of this challenge has to do with being ripped out of that secure place and sort of trying to figure out how to get it back, if that makes sense. Again, you have to step out of your comfort zone in order to grow. And that means feeling insecure. It's something that we all run away from a lot. But that feeling of insecurity, while it's uncomfortable and most people don't like it, there is magic in it to a certain extent as well. We learn a lot about ourselves in these so-called difficult places, and really, when we're running away from it, that's what we're denying ourselves. We're denying ourselves the lesson of really seeing this for what it is, if that makes sense. So that's a whole lot for you guys, but that's what I have for you. If you love your horoscopes, do click the link in the description and send me a copy. I would love that. If you are listening rather than viewing, that's ko-fi.com/heavy metal psychic, and check out heavymetalpsychic.com and all the fun stuff that's going on there. I'm Melissa Bruce, the Heavy Metal Psychic. Thank you so much for coming and listening this week. And you guys have a wonderfully productive week. Growth is hard, but it is so much better on the other side. Trust me on that. I'll see you guys next week. Make it a great one.